Hey everybody, welcome. So yet again, we aren't able to get together face to face in person. This video replaces the meeting that we would have had on the 26th of July. And the reason why I can't get together this week is not some conflict with the church or anything like that, but because I'm going to go and see this band in concert on Wednesday evening. So if you're watching this at 7 o'clock on Wednesday the 26th, then I will be right there with that guy. And I know what you're thinking, but Matt, you don't like crowds and you don't like loud noises. You're a hermit. So what's going on? Well, a few weeks ago, I actually went to another concert, which was The Cure. And again, big crowds, loud noises, not really my ideal scene. But the thing is, though, when you give yourself labels like, I'm not the kind of person that goes to a concert, then you miss out on being able to enjoy going to a concert. Every experience is just an experience. And if you give yourself those labels, you really limit what you can and cannot do. I actually had a really great time at that concert. I remember The Cure when I was growing up, and I know like 4 or 5 of their songs that I used to hear on the radio all the time. But my wife is a really big Cure fan. So, driving down there to the concert, we were playing all the Cure songs on Spotify, and most of them I'd never heard before. So I was basically going to a concert where I really didn't know the music. It was going to be loud, it's going to be noisy. And, when you get there, if you just get into the moment and just experience everything that's happening right in front of you, even somebody like me, I can really enjoy something like that. And I actually had a phenomenal time. But you know what enjoyed the concert more than I did was my mind. And of course, I ended up with one of those earworms where I had my favorite Cure song just playing over and over and over again on infinite loop for days. And this is a really great topic. Before we jump into our meditation this week, how do you deal with an earworm? And of course, an earworm is just one of those songs or a phrase or a saying or something that just seems to keep looping around in your head without your control. So, we have all of our senses work this way, but there are 3 different ways that you can use your senses. And so, with hearing, you can actively listen to the real world around you. So I can kind of tune into the sounds in the room. I can listen to the clock ticking. I can hear the airplane going past outside right now. And so I can put all of my focus and my awareness on the physical world around me. Now, the next thing, I can also use my mind to create an imaginary soundscape. So, regardless of what other sounds are going on around me, I can have a conversation going in my head with somebody else. I can be playing music in my head, and I am actively using my mind to create sounds. So you could, as you're just sitting there right now, you could imagine the sound of a bell or, a gong going clang, chime, making a noise. And you can literally overlay that on the real world around you. And then the third way that we hear or perceive sound is when our mind just takes over. And that's kind of that unconscious world that our mind creates. And so earworms really fall into that category. So what you're doing really is you're putting your awareness on what your mind is telling you that it wants you to listen to. And seemingly you have no control over that. It just keeps going on endlessly, whether you want to hear it or not. But you do have control over it. And what you have to do is shift your awareness back to one of those other 2 areas that you do have control over. So mindfulness, of course, teaches us to be present in the real world. So basically, whenever you hear that annoying earworm, then you can just go back to listening to the sounds in the room and really engaging in the physical world around you. Or if that is too difficult and you still keep getting distracted, then you can kind of overwrite what your mind is telling you and create your own music in your head or even sing out loud. But basically anything that takes over control again so that your mind just doesn't run willy-nilly with whatever it wants to do. So that's basically how to get rid of an earworm. It's still not easy, but it's another good tool that allows you to build better focus and concentration and get control of that awareness. Remember way back early on when I started teaching this stuff, I showed you that diagram with your awareness where you can control where you put your awareness. And but your mind also likes to grab hold of that needle from time to time. You just have to grab it right back and point it wherever you want to point it to. So this week I have an amazing meditation for you, and I hope that you've been meditating on your own. I know we all have busy lives and there's a lot of things going on. And if you have children, then the summer is obviously a pretty busy time. You got to take care of them and entertain them. But I hope that you've been meditating on your own. And even if you just spend 5 minutes sitting just before you go to bed, just sit quietly without the TV, without your phone, and just sit and just relax your body as much as you possibly can. And just start to become aware of some of those more subtle sensations going on within your body. So again, I hope you've been doing that on your own and that you're not just waiting for me every Wednesday to help put you into that peaceful state. It only takes a few minutes, and it really has tremendous benefits for the rest of your life if you can just get into the habit of doing that every day. So this week I'm going to teach you a very devious meditation that I came up with. As you know, I like to create meditations because it kind of keeps you on your toes, and this one really will. So it employs, the name of it, the breath confusion meditation. Don't worry, you're not going to pass out from asphyxiation or anything like that. But what I want to achieve with this is that your mind has to focus so much. So again, it's a mindfulness meditation because you're actually focusing so much on your breathing. And the way that I get you to remain focused on that is to also do a visualization. But the visualization is literally the opposite of what you're physically doing. And so what will happen is that your mind will kind of get settled on one of them, the physical aspect, and then it'll suddenly flip to the visual aspect, and there's a little bit of confusion there that your mind experiences, and it'll kind of flip-flop quickly between the two. And again, you won't stop breathing, nothing bad like that is going to happen, but you'll see your mind really struggle to stay focused on what's actually happening. And by remaining focused like that, again, you're not allowing your mind to take control. And so it's a simple meditation to explain and describe. It's very difficult to do and requires some supreme concentration. So definitely one of those meditations where don't get upset if you don't get it right away. It's meant to be hard, and it's meant to be a challenge for you. And that's, basically how it works. So what I want you to do is, what we're going to do is, as you breathe in, I want you to visualize yourself breathing out. So again, as you breathe in, I want you to visualize yourself breathing out. And then the opposite, as you're breathing out, I want you to visualize yourself breathing in. So your mind is trying to visualize the opposite of what it is that you're currently doing. And that's where that little bit of confusion comes in. And it might sound really silly, but once you start doing it, you'll see how it kind of has a very strange effect on you. And so we're going to start with as we do with all of our usual meditations. Once we get into that breathing part of it, I'm actually going to stop talking and just let you run with it for as long as you want, because as soon as I start talking, it's really going to disturb your concentration. So I'm actually not going to end the video. So I will, before we start, I'm going to say goodbye, and hope I can see you next week, which is, let me see. Sorry, I'm trying out my, so August 3rd, we will be back at the church, and we're going to meet downstairs in the preschool downstairs. So we'll be able to sit in a little circle, be a little bit more informal. We can talk about meditation. If you have any questions, or if you're struggling with anything, then You know, we can discuss that. I'll also bring, you know, my yoga cushion and my meditation bench, which is kind of interesting if you've never seen one of those. It's kind of like a little kneeling bench, and you're welcome to try those. There are chairs there, and we do have cushions, so you know you can sit on the floor, sit on a chair, have cushions on the chair. You know, we'll work through some of those procedures and steps that help you meditate. So anyway, that is it. Let's go back here. I know you guys probably don't want to stare at me, but that's all we've got right now. So, all right, so we're going to go and do this confusing breath meditation that is really going to mess with your mind. And so we start as we do all of our meditations, and that is to relax our body completely. So that we need to sit nice and straight. So even I'm leaning forward onto the table here, but you know, get yourself sitting nice and straight, nice and tall, so that your head basically sits right above your spine, right above your pelvis, and everything is super neutral and relaxed. That way you can just release all the muscle tension in your body. So just give yourself a moment, just kind of wiggle in your seat, make sure you're sitting nice and straight, nice and upright. And now close your eyes and just relax into that relaxation. And just straight away, just feel how still your body feels when you do that. Now we're going to visit every part of your body and relax the muscles one by one. So starting with your toes and your feet, just make sure that they're really nice and relaxed. Make sure your arches are just nice and gentle, and just feel them pressing against the floor. Now moving up to your calf muscles. Just relax them. Feel them gently melting. You may feel weight suddenly on the back of your legs, just as the muscles kind of hang down from the back of the knee. Now moving your awareness to your thighs and your hamstrings. Just feel those big muscles relaxing. Feel as though you're pressing into your seat. Now move your awareness to your lower back. If you're sitting nice and straight, that should be nice and relaxed. Your pelvis should be free. Just feel very light. Moving on up to your shoulders. Just relax them completely. Feel your shoulders drop down under their own weight. There should be no muscle tension there whatsoever. Just allow them to melt, as though there's a really warm beanbag just resting on your shoulders and your back. Now quickly move your awareness down to your hands. They should be nice and relaxed, not clenching your fingers, just very neutral. Now move your awareness back up to your neck. If your head is nicely balanced, you shouldn't feel any tension in your neck muscles or your shoulder. Now just spend a few moments, relax your jaw. Whenever you start thinking using words or language, your jaw always starts to tense up. It's like it's anticipating a real conversation. So just make sure it's nice and relaxed, but keep your mouth closed. Now move your awareness to your forehead and your eyes. Make sure you're not squinting or frowning. You should be just very gentle, nicely relaxed. Now your whole body should feel like it's floating at this point. Now move your awareness to your breathing. And this time we're actually going to follow the breath in the lungs. This will make it easier when you start to do the visualization. So as you breathe in, just feel your lungs gently expanding. And then as you breathe out again, just feel them gently collapse. And just keep doing that as you breathe in, feel it expanding. And then as you gently breathe out, just very, very ever so gentle, just like a floating feather, just gently floating back down to the floor. Once you get used to following your breath like that, now we'll get into the visualization part. So as you breathe out, I want you to visualize yourself breathing in. So as your lungs are contracting, I want you to visualize your lungs expanding. And as you breathe in and your lungs really expand, I want you to visualize yourself breathing out. Now, as I said, this will cause quite a bit of confusion for your mind, and it'll force it to concentrate on what's happening. You'll keep flip-flopping between the visualization and the reality. But just keep doing that for as long as you want. You may find that time passes very quickly doing this meditation. So even if you feel as though you've only been doing it for a few minutes, you may actually end up meditating for quite some time. But again, don't get frustrated with this. It's deliberately designed to confuse you and confuse your mind, but it will really help with concentration and focus. You may even lose awareness of your body completely as you do this exercise. So good luck, and we'll see you next week.